All right. Uh, I'm not really sure what's happened to it. Uh, it was acting strange today. Uh, I drove it 2 times to town. Uh, once in the hot part of the day, and then once tonight. And earlier, I assumed that it vapor locked, or you know, something like that. Then I drove it. Right now, it's not really cold, but it's cooler. I drove it to town to get some food. Went to a Mexican place. And when I went to leave, it wouldn't start. And I messed around with it for a few minutes, and it started up. Was running okay after it started, so I went to the gas station, and yeah, I guess I shouldn't have killed it, but I figured after it's rested a little bit. Every time. I think sometimes the car just wants to be difficult. Honestly, I think it just wants to be left alone. I don't think it wanted to drive. Go away, mosquito. The thing's the size of a helicopter. Okay. Might as well let it run a little while and charge that battery up. Maybe if I can get it hot, I can watch it flood or something. I don't know. I tried 14 different times in town to start this car. I let it sit there an hour before I had the truck brought to me. And then it sat there another 35-40 minutes before he got to me. So the amp gauge does work. See how much it's charging? You see that? I've never seen it move off a half gauge. I don't know how to describe this any better, but I will say this. Earlier, I noticed that the rear needle and seat was flooding. It was seeping. It was dripping raw gas down the booster, off the booster into the carburetor. So I changed the rear needle and seat. And when it first started doing this tonight, the rear's dry, but the front's wet. You really can't go by that though, because the front has the accelerator pump spread on it. But I got to noticing the front also has the throttle blade, the throttle shaft wet with gas. The back was doing that too. Maybe the front needle seat's also leaking. Those were both new at the same time. And I've been running ethanol gas for a year in that carburetor, and it's set all winter. Maybe the front needle and seat's doing it too. Maybe that's why it's doing it. I'll go ahead and post this video tonight, and I'll change the front needle and seat tomorrow and see if that fixes it. But if you happen to watch this and you've got any idea, let me know. It could be a vapor lock, I guess, but I really doubt it, because it wasn't even hot when it did it tonight. And either way, I got gas at the gas station. I bought ethanol free. I'm going to start running ethanol free gas in this car instead of ethanol. Dwells stayed the same. I know it's not a points related issue, but it could be a coil related issue. I guess the coil could be shutting down when it gets hot, but it runs fine until you kill it. I gotta remember not to fall. Motherfucker. So, if I hurry up and get out there right now, I should get to see the carburetor do something, shouldn't I? You know, when you're trying to do stuff to save gas and get the best mileage you can out of something, it doesn't help when your carburetor's dumping a fucking quart down the intake. I think maybe I should leave the hood shut and try to let it heat soak. I'll bring this back in a second. Alright. I stood here and watched a 10-minute YouTube video. It smells like gas under here. Very strong. I could probably light a match right here and blow myself down to the house. So let's see. There is gas. I'd hate to, but I should see if it starts. Let's look at something. All right, so there's, I know I hit the accelerator pump. But there's liquid gas pooling underneath that carburetor. So either the front one leaked some gas out of it, or I guess it could be possible for me to have a gasket leaking, I guess, somehow internally, that's letting gas get through the carburetor. But Oh, and you see my little zip tie. I zip tied the secondary because I was trying to get more air into it to try to crank it, and I never could get it to start. And I'm honestly not sure that it's not losing spark when it's hot after it's heat soaked. Anyway, tell me what you think. I'll mess with this some tomorrow. I guess anybody that's a car person's been here. It's kind of annoying.